So you're, you just reached this incredibly high altitude of playing on all these records, and it's worth mentioning again. Obviously, these iconic country records, but then folk becomes, the folk guys want to come to town. Bob Dylan comes to town, so those records become huge. Listen to Simon Garfunkel's "The Boxer." It's the second and last verse?
Yeah.
And
bass
it's
harmonica.
Bass harmonica.
Yeah.
I never knew what that was for the longest time. And when I found out it was you, it was like mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
But what a career to play on so many records that go out into the American culture and really resonate.
It's
amazing.
My career is like a fairy tale.
It really is.
And it's just what a blessing it is, And to do it in this town where everybody was so nice and so supportive and so friendly,
Right.
Yeah.
The reason we all wanted to come here was because of what you guys did. I mean, and I love the Opry. It's great to play the Opry. But what you guys did on vinyl records in the 60s, and then, of course, cassette tapes, 8-track. I remember having an 8-track tape. I hated it, Charlie, when they'd split the song up, man.
You know what?
I hated that.
You know what? When I made my first album for Monument, when the first album that the 8-track was going to be involved, I went to our producer and I said, "You know what? I hate it when songs split on these 8-tracks. Could I reprogram mine?"
Did they let you?
Yeah, they gave me the formula.
Wow.
And they let me move the songs around to where there were no skips.
I think I had some of yours. I think I had the one with Something, whatever that album was. The Beatles, George Harrison, Something.
Yeah, it was Good Time Charlie.
Good Time Charlie. And you had Good Time Charlie's Got the Blues.
That's my one album that went #1.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So we fast forward through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sessions, and you get tapped on the shoulder to be a music director for the show Hee Haw, which I was a big fan of, man, when it came on. I remember I was a kid when it was on CBS, and then it went to syndication. But how do you make that decision? Again, this is an interesting choice.
You're not kidding. When I went there the first time, they hired me to play on a segment with Ray Charles.
Okay.
Play harmonica behind Ray Charles. And, it was a lot of fun. And the cast were all real friendly. And, of course, I knew all the musicians,
Yeah.
And it went really good. And little time passed, and the music director then was a guy named George Ritchie, who was a songwriter
Tammy
around town.
Wynette was married to him for a while.
So I got a call from George. It was probably the next year. He said, "Hey, Sam Lavello, who was the producer, he wants you to be a regular in the band." I said, "George, I'm doing a lot of sessions. I don't know if it sounds like a conflict to me." So he said, the band doesn't work every day. He said, "Come down here and try it once." So I said, "Okay, now listen," I said, "if it's some day that I've already got something booked, I'm going to have to bail." And he said, "Well, we'll work around that. Come on down here and try it."
Wow.
So I went down there and I loved it. It was like you walk in, it's like all of these legends, Roy Acuff, Grandpa Jones, Roy Clark, Buck Owens, Minnie Pearl. Every day you're working with legends.
Yes.
And plus, it was the hit country music of the day.
Right.
We got real corny when we did the humor and did the hay bales.
Sure.
But when they did the music, they did it right.
I've always said that. And
nice sets, nice sound,
I got to tell you, I took inspiration from that because years later, I got hired to kind of do what you did on a show for the Nashville Network. And the sitcom, it was a sitcom, and it was kind of hokey, but we took the music totally seriously.
Yeah.
And
I think that was the big difference.
That.
That's what really made Hee Haw work, I believe. And so then after that first segment, we recorded 13 shows. At the end of that segment, Sam Lavello called me in his office and he said, when you come back, he said, when you come back, I want you to be the band leader. And I said, Sam, I don't even know. He said, oh, come on back and try it. So I went back and tried it. At the end of that 13 shows, he said, listen, George Ritchie's leaving the show. He's going to marry Tammy Wynette.
Right.
I want you to be music director. So finally, and I loved doing it so much, I said, okay,